I guess the summit, the Women's Safety Summit, which is taking place virtually and all around the country, with the Prime Minister being in Canberra and today. In the Financial Review have a great story by Tom McElroy, Make Domestic Violence Leave a Right, which I think is one of the propositions that the Business Council of Australia is putting forward. What do you make? I guess we had the hullabaloo today of the Prime Minister's comments around, he's finally listening to women's stories around violence that they experience in the workplace or at home. Jennifer Westcott's probably got a pretty good idea with this one, don't you think?
Yeah, of course she's got something on this. I think it's probably a bit of a no-brainer, really, making domestic violence leave a right. It's something you obviously don't want to see anybody have to ever access or make that an option for somebody, but you want to make them feel safe. Somebody feels safe within their workplace that if they've got some sort of issue in relation to domestic violence, one, they feel confident enough that they'll be backed by their company, by their business, if they have to take some time off. I don't think anybody should be put into that position whereby their job might be at risk just for putting up their hand to say, hey, there's something pretty serious going on at home and I need a little bit of time to try and manage this situation.
Do you think that day two of this summit could be maybe the balm that we saw sort of calm down tensions that we saw today with day one? Because I think a lot of people are getting very upset with the fact that people like Brittany Higgins was only invited by the ACT cohort, Grace Tame that said that she was an afterthought to attend and things like that. They've all been very vocal critics of the government's, position on domestic violence and treatment of women. Do you think that now the Business Council and the business lobby giving actual, steadfast plans could actually be what this summit needs to actually get some legislation through the ranks?
I'd hope so. I'd hope it becomes more than just a bit of a talk fest. And I think today we probably did not really see anything that is tangible enough to walk away and say there could be some sort of real difference that's going to be created here, Jenna. So, look, I'm really looking for a headline out of tomorrow and looking for really some tangible difference that can be made, something that can be acted upon. And as you say, if there's legislation that needs to be changed, the government of the day and the parliament will consider that. But at the moment, it seems as though we're through day one, day two. Let's hope that there is something that there is more, meaty topics that are worthy of discussion and start to see some real change.
Yeah. Look, I don't know how I know this, but I think I've got some inside word that there's a very interesting story in tomorrow's West Australian.
Oh, really, Jenna? How would you know that?
I have no idea. By Lene Scar in Canberra, who is the federal politics reporter, specifically about issues that impact women and, I guess, issues of violence in the home and at work. So stay tuned for that. But also in the Fin tomorrow is this headline and their splash that they're going with the grim peak of hospital toll, obviously back to COVID, because that's one issue that we cannot ignore. Forecast for New South Wales intensive care load to within increase of 1,515 bed capacity, and there's even more pressure on doctors and nurses. Obviously, you and I being in the West, we're not too unusual with these claims of pressures being put on the hospital system. What do you make of obviously all the news that was around today and that's definitely going to spill out in tomorrow in saying that the hospitals can't cope even with COVID and when we're all vaccinated?
Look, it's a fascinating discussion at the moment, isn't it, in Australia? I mean, if you look at the New South Wales situation, we know that the number of cases are increasing plus 1,000 every single day, putting massive pressure on the hospital system at the moment. But we've had the 18 months, Jenna. We had the opportunity, didn't we? This was the idea to try and create the capacity in the hospital system, whether it's in New South Wales, it's in Victoria, it's here in Western Australia, to be ready and to be able to cope with the surge in patients. Now, nobody does not want to see anybody treated properly. Nobody does not want to see anybody die as a result of COVID-19. But I think it's something that we really have to have a mature conversation about. And, we go down the path of the national plan and look at the way the goalposts have shifted here in WA since Friday. It was 80%, said Mark McGowan on Friday, the West Australian Premier. Today it's 90%, he tells Carl Stefanovic on the Today Show. What changed in 3 days? What changed, Jenna?
Yeah. It's the fact that this is an ongoing feast. It moves quicker than Delta. The goalposts do move quicker than Delta.
It's just ridiculous, though. Yeah. I mean, how does anybody in Australia at the moment have any confidence about where we're going? And you want to provide that confidence to people to go and get vaccinated. That's meant to be the ticket out of this.